Now let's look at the second verse. In the verses of the Quran, even the letters are considered in terms of meaning, the formation of meaning, and the arrangement of words and letters, showing that not even a single letter is found in the Quran by coincidence. Let's examine a part of verse 3 of Surah Al-Anfal to see what kind of wonder exists. Let's see how the rules of eloquence have been applied. Those people spend from the sustenance we have given them. This is how it translates into Turkish. Now let's take a look at these methods in Arabic. Here and in minma, the words min and ma in Arabic. When combined, it is read as minma. What does this mean? Ma means that thing. Min means from. So it means from that thing. Minma means from that thing. Now here, minma will say something about that thing, but it does not specify what it is, leaving it ambiguous. In other words, it closes it off. It will talk about something. What is it talking about? The part here is razaqnahum, meaning from the sustenance we have given them. I am writing this down. Let's pay attention here. It says, from the sustenance we have given them. Up to here, up to razaqnahum. Let's look at the next part. Yunfikun, they spend on their expenses. Now this, they spend from the sustenance we have given them for their expenses. Up to here. Now let's continue. What is actually being conveyed here? Allah is praising. They perform the prayer and they spend from the sustenance we have given them for their provisions. There is a positive aspect here, meaning a positive judgment exists here. Let's see what else is there. Now it states the conditions for charity. Let's see what the conditions for charity are. What conditions are there when giving charity? And here are three words. وَمِنْمَا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. There are three words. Let's see how many meanings are contained within these three words. Now let's start with the first one. Firstly, the use of the meaning of min here does not define what sustenance is, saying from the sustenance we have given them. When it says from what we have given them as sustenance, the word thing refers to the word ma within minma, which means that charity is not limited to material goods in any way. Because a person with wealth gives charity from their wealth, a person with knowledge gives charity from their knowledge, and if they have nothing, they can give charity with a smile. As you know, there are hadiths on this matter. Therefore, the word ma means that it is from what the person possesses. It signifies that whatever Allah has bestowed upon them, they give from that. Therefore, charity is not limited to material goods. It is not limited to money. It is not limited to knowledge. The word ma expresses that charity is limited to whatever has been bestowed upon you. This is the first charity. He mentioned the first rule of charity. It is to give charity to the extent that one does not become in need of charity. For example, you cannot say to give all your wealth. It is not permissible to give all your wealth. This is forbidden. What should happen? You need to give from your wealth. He is also referring to what is said in the word min. That is, does not say that they spend the wealth given to them as charity, which we have granted to them as provision. They spend from the wealth. Pay attention. He does not say they spend the wealth. He says they spend from that wealth. This means that when giving charity, a person cannot give so much that they become in need of charity themselves. We derive the ruling of this being forbidden from the word min. Type of that charity is also not specified. It can be from any kind of what has been granted to you. Remove that from ma. That is, we derived it from ma in this part. Well, let's continue. Razaqnahum means what we have given to them as provision, what we have provided for them as sustenance. And what miracles, what wonders, what rules of eloquence and action are there from this? Let's take a look. You know how it is in our old Turkish traditions. The bully takes from the rich and gives to the poor. Friend, why don't you give from your own pocket? What does it matter to you from someone else's wealth? Therefore, there is a rule for charity. What does the rule of charity say? It is not about taking from Ali and giving to Ali. You will give from your own pocket. What does it say here? Razaqnahum means from the sustenance we have provided for them. In other words, you will give from the sustenance that belongs to you, from what Allah has granted you. This also indicates the ruling of na here. This na has another meaning. How will this na have another meaning? Now, from what we have provided, meaning from the sustenance we have given to them, you can only give charity from what we have given to you. It said you cannot take someone else's property and give it, but it provided another rule. So, what did it say as the third rule? You will give from your own property. There is another rule. Let's see what that rule is. The fourth rule, you cannot leave the poor in debt with what you give, because you gave what Allah has granted you. What does this express? We provided the sustenance to you. It is not the sustenance you have earned yourself. They will spend from the provision we have given them. In other words, cannot leave the poor in debt. When you give your zakat, when you give your charity, you cannot say, I gave to you. That is the right of the poor. And Allah has given you that poor person for you to give to them. Now, let's continue. They spend on their sustenance. The word nafaka clearly means essential needs. You can give to someone who spends on their essential needs. That person is going to take it and spend it in unlawful ways. They should not receive charity. It is not permissible. In order for you to give charity, the person receiving charity must be someone who spends on their essential needs. Therefore, your charity is only valid if it is given to someone who spends on their sustenance. You cannot give it to someone who will spend it unlawfully, nor can you give it to someone who is not in need of sustenance. Giving to someone who does not need sustenance is meaningless. Why? Because the term nafaka means essential needs. You should give to those who are in dire need, and you should give to those who spend two of their dire needs. In other words, if he takes it, yes, he had a dire need, but he takes it and loses it. He can spend it where it's legitimate. You can't give it again. There's one last thing. What is it? What does that mean? From the sustenance we provide, what does that mean? You will give it for the sake of Allah. You can't say, oh, how rich I am. Advertise on my TV. Look how I'm donating. One hand won't see what the other hand gives. Where do we get this from? Razaqna. Razaqnahum is from what Allah has blessed you with, meaning it doesn't belong to you. Therefore, you can't advertise it while giving because it doesn't belong to you.
المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما.